Today, we are going to talk about a program that uses an avant-garde approach to learning for all students. The school I visited is Academy High School in Plano, Texas. They truly believe that all students can learn. Their mission statement, building a community of learners empowered to collaborate and compete in a rapidly changing world, is evident in their school. I'm going to give you an overview of their campus and describe the classroom that I was able to observe, as well as the feedback that I got from the teachers and the students. I will also share their words of wisdom on how you might be able to begin using some of their ideas to help your students become more successful on your campus. So starting with the courses that are even offered on the campus, it all starts with their course offerings. And to support the mission statement of the school, each course is embedded with an interdisciplinary project. In other words, English classes do not simply teach English. Instead, English is taught in conjunction with the other core subjects. So the classroom that I was able to observe was an English 3 class partnering with an engineering course. The differentiation focus is that the classrooms are designed to be interactive at all times. None of the classrooms had traditional desks or chairs to be nicely arranged in patterns and rows. Instead, the walls were designed to be drawn and written upon and seen from all areas of the classroom and used for brainstorming and collaboration. So the classroom that I observed was the English and Engineering class. They were partnering up with a project for Southwest Airlines. The project had to do with ticketing and some ticketing issues. So as the questions came up, or students had questions, how are we going to solve this? What is the problem? They would go to the billboard and post their questions, and then teachers or other students could actually come by the board and see what the questions are and be able to answer them during class. They also had a war room where the Southwest Airlines volunteers would come and visit the students to review the presentations on what the students had researched. The drawing board was exactly that. On the wall, instead of putting things to paper to brainstorm, everything was written on the wall. What if this? What if that? Lots of webbing going on. The group, they work collectively and they write on the walls. The students were intermingled with the 2 different classes working in groups. Both the English teacher and engineering teacher were actively asking questions and offering guidance. Each group, before they get to work, create a norms contract on how they will be expected to work within the groups. The contracts change for each group. The classroom is very hands-on with the teacher interaction. There is flexible grouping that changes with each project, as the next project may be between engineering and art, for example. The use of technology is evident in the projects, as it will be reported back to Southwest Airlines in this case. There is value and importance stressed on real-life applications. The students are given a timeline in which to gather data and explore possible solutions. They must also meet the deadline to have the findings presentation ready for the third-party review. Again, in this case, Southwest Airlines. The goals are explicitly given at the beginning of the project, and the groups provide their own rules of norms before the project moves forward. The teachers align their content areas with the scope and sequence set forth by the ISD. The delivery method by which the scope and sequence is presented looks very different than the rest of the ISD campuses. The lesson plans are linear and are used as a 4-year plan. Lessons follow the required TEKs and are developed using the objectives in mind. Because of the nature of the program, constant feedback from administrators make observations a normal, everyday occurrence. The war room is used regularly to adjust appropriate instructional needs. The classrooms are multifaceted in that they work collaboratively across disciplines and grade levels. I was able to speak with both the engineering teacher and the English teacher during class. I was also granted permission to speak with students who were working in the groups. One student requested my card so that she could contact me for information for her future capstone project. It was refreshing to see such enthusiasm for learning. This particular student has learned the importance of making connections. This population is special because the entire school is designed to integrate every course together for a holistic approach to learning. Students with 504 plans or IEPs are accepted into the school, but they must be able to function at a general education level. The benefit is that all students, regardless of disability or lack of disability, are given a variety of avenues in which to learn the same information. Because the school uses a standard-based grading system, a student is recognized as making progress when his scores continue to scale upwards. This one's a little bit more difficult to explain, but basically the grades mean nothing to the class as a whole, but rather on a scale of 1 to 5, and how well the student or the individual knows the content. The plan to document student progress is much like maps, where you watch the progress improve, or not, in percentages. The program they use is called Empower. Working with other teachers is essential to the success of their students. Throughout 4 years, students will have worked collaboratively with every course and content area. The administrators drive the school. They're the ones that continually monitor and provide feedback to the classrooms. They also provide resources from their training sessions. One administrator unashamedly finds resources at a second-hand or thrift shop. She calls these gems. General education and elective teachers all work collaboratively throughout the school. Advice for campuses that do not do this is to find ways to integrate with your campus the other disciplines. The classroom differs pretty much from any other classroom in a typical high school. There's no rows of desks or chairs, and students come to school to work in a business-like setting. Students, regardless of an IEP or 504 or any other disability, have the opportunity to work with other students in the school. In some cases, students in Year 4 will work with students in Year 1 on projects. Students are graded and evaluated based on their personal progress. Therefore, a slower student can succeed if he or she shows progress or growth. For example, this student may improve by 20% by the end of the semester. Students in the same class but are higher achievers must also demonstrate improvement. So to ask the slower student to be at the same achievement level as the higher achieving student is absurd, according to these teachers. The students are competing with themselves. Students are prepared to take the STAR EOCs not because they practice taking the exams. Rather, the TEKs are covered in each area and are explored and demonstrated to the level that asking questions about them later are easily achieved by the students. The program is clustered. In other words, rarely does one subject area teach in isolation. Throughout the year, different disciplines interact and work together on projects. So what were the words of wisdom from the teachers at this school to you and to your classroom? To look at the data. The counselors at the school are actually looking to give rosters to teachers not by alphabetation, but rather clustered into groups and needs and suggestion for modifications and accommodations. It's a great tool for creating the project groups. They also think that you should ask yourself how you arrange your classroom. How can you make it more business-like and user-friendly? What would your classroom look like if it were part of a development team at a company? Reaching outside of your building, the students are smarter than most people give them credit. What outside agency could you request to have partner with your students to solve a problem? In this case, this campus used Southwest Airlines to solve a ticketing issue. What about others? Think about the teachers in your building. What teacher could you partner with and solve a problem all the while teaching the subject area concepts? And lastly, for grading, think about how you grade your students. Is it about making the grade, or is it about knowledge and growth? In what ways might you need to tweak your grading policy to get a better picture of student achievement? This presentation was created using eMaze and Screencast-O-Matic. Thank you for listening.